For the best grooming that is for you, Yes, all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be a swagger, style, class, and luxury. Make our products that are made for you with high quality, yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah. Black, gentleman, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Kung Fu Film Focus for this Thursday, November 7th, 2024. This is a Kung Fu Film Focus that steps outside of the box that I normally focus in when doing these shows. But this subject and film that we're talking about this evening is a milestone in the martial arts genre because it is actually the first cinematic biopic that was made portraying the life of legendary Kung Fu film star and martial artist Bruce Lee. The film's title, The Dragon Dies Hard, from 1974, released just about a year after Lee's death. This film was about as sleazy as it could get when dealing with all of the rumored circumstances surrounding the cinematic Hong Kong martial art period of Lee's film career and his domestic life. Producers were greedy for that dollar, and anything that had Lee's name or any semblance of the titles of the films that he starred in his short 4-film career in Hong Kong, any combination of Fury, Fist, Dragon, Enter, Game, any of those assortments attributed to a title of a martial art film during that genre and time, it raked in the box office. Lee made 2 films with Dragon in the title, The Way of the Dragon from 1972 and Enter the Dragon from 1973. When Way of the Dragon was released in the US in 1974, they had retitled it Return of the Dragon to give it some sort of spin that somehow the little dragon, Lei Xiu Long, his nickname in Chinese, was returning. These producers were greedy, and they went all out to try to get the various ways that they could cover, making box office off of Lee, his name, his likeness. And it was something that was done for a number of years. And also over the years, we had an opportunity to see many biopics come to pass. A lot of them starring the lead that was in this film, Ho Chung Tao, who was also billed as Bruce Lee Sao Lung, and also Bruce Lai, L-I, or Lee in the Chinese way of pronouncing the name. L-I in Chinese is still considered Lee. So it was something that they were doing. It was considered rip-off material, and it was at that time that Bruceploitation, as it was known, Bruce Lee exploitation, combined down and condensed into one word, Bruceploitation, it had begun. Throughout the years, Ho Chung Tao made a living off of making films that either emulated Lee's prior films or playing in sequels to those films that were not necessarily legitimate sequels, and then also imitating what had happened previously. There are an assortment of films starring Ho Chung Tao that you could see where he's playing a Bruce Lee-like character, a brother of a character that Lee played in his films, some type of associate, a student of Lee's or whatever. They went all out, as I said, during this time. But this particular film, The Dragon Dies Hard, was one that was really, according to, the Lee estate, there were lawsuits. This film really depicted Bruce Lee, who internationally wasn't well known because he had died before Enter the Dragon was released, and his international fame came after the release of the film, which was released like 3 weeks after he passed away. So here you have an international star off of one film, and he's deceased, and people want more, but he's no longer around. And then all you have is these crappy little independent Hong Kong filmmakers who are rushing to put something out with his name in the title, his likeness on the film poster, and these weird looking guys that they have portraying his character on screen. It was a really weird time. If you guys remember the Elvises during the times after Elvis passed away, and you go to Vegas and they have like the Elvis chapel where you could get married. You had the Elvis review where all these imitators would be on stage. Then you had Elvis, the flying Elvises, who were like guys who were parachuting out of aircraft, and they just did all this weird stuff, dressed like Elvis with the studded glasses and jumpsuits and cape, hair slicked back. It was similar. That's all I can say is that what was happening in Hong Kong off of Bruce Lee was quite similar to that. And it was not a joke according to the estate, or what would eventually become the estate of Bruce Lee. It was really weird that all of this came about, and there was not much to be said outside of the man was no longer around, and they would consider this some sort of legacy of his. So tonight we're just talking about this and reviewing it. Depicted on your screen right now is the original theatrical poster for the film, which is it's actually a hand-drawn image of Lee from his famous film Fist of Fury, aka The Chinese Connection. But also, I have seen the original photograph, so what I'm about to explain here is really interesting. They purposely didn't make it look exactly like Lee, even though they got his name on the poster, like I said, because they could have been sued for the image at that time from Fist of Fury, a Golden Harvest film. So they had someone hand-drawn the photo of Lee, but kind of slightly make it not look totally like him. And then beneath him, you could see a reel of shots, screenshots from the film, lobby cards as they would call them, where Ho Chung Tao playing Lee is depicted in those photographs. And he looks nothing like Bruce Lee at all. So this is what we had to deal with in the early 70s, man. And it was crazy because though this was the first biopic on the legendary Kung Fu film star, it's probably the worst. And it was like just a cruddy film, but it made bank at the Hong Kong box office. It really did. So yeah, we're talking about that this evening. I also want to give out an apology because I had originally rescheduled this film for 2 weeks ago after its initial point where I was going to have the discussion on this film. I had to push it back 2 weeks, and then I ended up doing a boxing show, a boxing raps, and I was supposed to upload it for this week, but somehow when I did the boxing rap show, this was still in the queue for the same day, and I apologize for that because I noticed that after I did the boxing rap show that this had gone live when I wasn't even doing this show. So it was a mix-up on my behalf, and I want to apologize to my audience for that. Also, one other thing to mention, we are in the midst of a subscription drive for this channel. I'm trying to reach 8K before the end of the year, and asking people to share the content, asking people to subscribe and recommend the channel, asking those who want to donate to the channel to please go by the way of Cash App or PayPal. The links are in the description box. And anyone who was a channel member here on YouTube, I'm recommending that you cancel out those channel memberships and take the energy of being a member to my Patreon. because the Patreon will allow us to have memberships and you to enjoy uncensored content without YouTube putting their fingers in your pockets of your donations. So I want to make that clear. This is not me pushing people for money. This is me letting you know that there's another option if you want to support the channel financially. So this is how we're going to go about things going forward. Right now, this show is being simulcast on Patreon as well. So you're going to be able to watch it here on YouTube, and after this it'll be available on Patreon. So just know that. And I'm trying to make some moves and shake things up a little bit because it's necessary. Yeah. So, you know, I want you all to know that. But yeah, we're going to get on into this. The Dragon Dies Hard, man. I mean, this movie here, you guys, this film was something else, man. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, and I was like, that ain't Bruce Lee. It's like, and Ho Chung-tao, at the time when this film was made, he was not a very good actor at all. He was a stuntman from Taiwan. He was 10 years younger than Bruce Lee actually was, born in 1950. And he had played in some Taiwan bashers, but never as a lead character or anything. He was always one of the guys that was a henchman in the background, getting beat up or playing a Japanese baddie or whatever. But the producers thought that they would take a chance on this man and put him in as a lead for Bruce Lee. I don't know what made, they said that they thought he looked like Bruce Lee a little bit from a side angle or something. This is he explaining it himself. But there was a little bit of cosmic surgery done, but not so much of like to try to make him look like Lee, but to kind of tighten up his features a little bit, because you know, some of the Asian actors and actresses have gone through a process of having their eyes widened if they had narrow eyes, and they would undergo a surgery that will open their eyes up a little more. Jackie Chan had the procedure done. If you ever see Jackie's films prior to when he became a leading actor in films like New Fist of Fury or The Magnificent, what was it called? Bodyguards. Films like that where he got a lead opportunity. Prior to that, his facial appearance was a lot different. A little nip and tuck here and there, and then they felt he could be before the cameras as a leading man. Same thing was done for Ho Chung-tao. Now, what's interesting about him in this film, he undergoes several looks in this film alone. There's a sequence that's early in the film where he has real short haircut. And it was like they just kind of, maybe he had a bad hairstyle when they went behind production cameras. So they gave him a short haircut, almost similar to what the real Bruce Lee wore in Way of the Dragon. If you remember Way of the Dragon, he had a very short haircut. So Ho Chung-tao, they cut his hair real short in this film. And then after that, there are scenes in the film where his hair is longer and he appears to have a wig on. It's like, what are they doing, man? I don't know, man. It was so weird. It was so weird to see this, huh? And there's so many things I could say about this film. I'm not trying to go too far one way or another, but just let you know that Bruce Lee was so popular at the time of his death when Enter the Dragon was released to the world internationally. You could not understand the hype behind it. I guess the only thing that I could liken it to is, for those of you who are old enough now to remember when Marvel's The Avengers came out, right? Back in 2012. When that first Avengers film came out, because you had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, The Incredible Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow, all of them on film together for the first time. Do you remember that excitement? It was like the Avengers. Yeah, man, you know, let's kick some butt. That was what Enter the Dragon was when Lee's film got released. But understand, imagine seeing the Avengers film, but the stars of it are no longer around. They made the one movie and then everyone is gone. They're not here to do another film. That's what it was like when Enter the Dragon was made. So you had Bruce Lee in that, and then you had his other 3 Hong Kong films that were not internationally made because Warner Brothers invested in Enter the Dragon to make it an international film. And the star is not here anymore. It's got to be one of the craziest situations ever. Kind of similar to Heath Ledger playing the Joker in The Dark Knight. And you heard before the film was released about his performance and how it could be Oscar worthy. And Heath Ledger passed away before the film got released. Similar situation. So that was something, you know, to deal with this film. There's a cast that of characters that were played and portrayed in this film. Of course, you had Ho Chung Tao. You had a young lady by the name of Tong Pei, who was playing the love interest of Ho Chung Tao's Bruce Lee character, who was a synonym of the real life mistress of Lee, Betty Tang Pei. So they gave her this name, Tong Pei. She kind of looked like Betty Tang Pei. Then you had a gentleman by the name of Chen Young Sang. Chen Young Sang would be playing movie producer Run Run Shaw in this film. And he was played as a shrewd businessman whom Ho Chung Tao's character of Bruce Lee went to the studio to try to get a film role. And he turned him down. And he was like, look, we understand you played on some TV shows in America, but you know, this is Hong Kong. We make big movies here, but we could sign you to a big contract, but you know, you're not going to make money like you made in America. And of course, Lee's character turned that down. And then he ran into a gentleman in the film that was playing the cinematic version of Raymond Chow. And that kind of set things on its end because the Raymond Chow character in the film was really someone that he was played in a way that it was real disrespectful. Let's just play it like that. And then there was another female character in the film where she was playing another actress that would play in films with Lee, and she was supposed to be in love with him and stuff, and he wasn't showing her any interest because he was too busy, eyes focused on Tong Pei. And then you had other characters that were like playing Linda Lee, the wife of Bruce Lee, and her character was kind of she was kind of weird. You know, he told her he was like supposed to be married to her and told her after being in America, he was like, I want to go back to Hong Kong. And she was like, yeah, you should go back to Hong Kong. That's where you're from. And it's like, that's not even true. Bruce Lee was from America. But it's like this movie. I'm telling you, this film was like really sleazy, man. And then they would play it like the only thing he was interested in was Tong Pei. And that was like, Bruce might have been a philanderer, but allegedly, but to sacrifice his career and everything for this woman, it's like that's how it was played in the film. Let me take a quick moment and go to the chat and see who we got in the building, man. I'm not trying to ignore anybody, but I know this show was supposed to be put out a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now. And I apologize for the delay. So smash the like button as you come into the building, please. And like I said, you can share the content. We got TD Sports Talk in the building. What's happening with you, Thomas? Shogun 76, the Shogun of Harlem. What's happening? Derek Gaines, the legend, is in the building. Tay-Tay, the real queen of MMA and combat talk. What's happening? She says, facts. Enter the Dragon was Bruce Lee's first Hollywood film. Yeah. No, actually, his first Hollywood film, Tay-Tay. And I have to correct you on that because, you know, I am the sensei. I have to tell you. His first Hollywood film was Marlowe, The Little Sister, based on the book The Little Sister with James Gardner. Lee played Winslow Wong in that film, an assassin who was hired to take out Private Eye, played by James Gardner. And Winslow in that film had two major scenes. And one was when he came in to the offices of James Gardner. And the other was when he later met James Gardner on a rooftop of a restaurant. You may notice a clip that I've used of him from that film.
You are not looking for anybody. You cannot find anybody. You do not have time to work for anybody. You have not heard a thing, nor seen a thing. Whom sent you? A man who would rather spill money than blood, but also a man who would not mind spilling blood if he has no other choice.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Tay-Tay, that was Bruce Lee's first Hollywood movie. How about that, huh? You see, Stormy B Man be on top of it, huh? Yeah, you're welcome. And then that was like 1967, I think, that film was made. And Enter the Dragon was 1973. So Hollywood still didn't get on to Lee until many years later. How about that, huh? Yeah. But let me get back to the roll call. Just wanted to point that out. She says it was one of my favorite Bruce Lee films, Enter the Dragon. Shogun says Way of the Dragon was his best. He says this film was terrible. You ain't lying, Shogun. But again, I got to talk about it, man. You know why? Because it's a part of the Kung Fu cult history, man. And I thought I'd get it out of the way because that way I can purge myself somewhat. You know what I mean? It's like I can't. And I can tell you, I saw this film more than a few times. As a kid, we go to the movies to see Kung Fu films. Man, this film seemed to play all the time down there at the 3 movies for $1.50. Man, it was crazy. Couldn't get enough of watching Kung Fu, but this one was always playing, and I didn't like it at all. Because Bruce Lee, I don't like to call him Bruce Lee. If you watch me on this show, I like to refer to him by his real name, Ho Chung Tao. Never like calling him that other name. Derek Gaines says, I just dropped your channel in Discord. Thank you for that, Derek Gaines. Shogun says, a lot of things in this film didn't make sense. Well, they did make sense, Shogun. But you know what it was? It was based on a lot of rumors and tabloid press surrounding Lee's life in the last months and year of his life, and they just put it in the film. Whether it was true or not, if it was rumor or whatever, and the more scandalous the rumor, the more that they wanted to emphasize it in the movie as if it was true to life. Because understand, this was the first opportunity that someone had to tell a story about Lee's life, and they took full advantage, man. Lee's widow, Linda Lee, she was in and out of courts trying to sue these people and everything, man. And the Bela Lugosi act, where when you are a deceased person, you kind of really don't have no rights. That's why an estate should be formed to protect you and your legacy that you leave behind. And understand, he had just passed away, so an estate wasn't founded yet and everything. It came years later after Linda had to sort out some matters regarding monies that were owed to Lee and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of legal situations. And these studios took full advantage of that foolishness early on. That's why, like, now, like, some of those films are hard to track down. But it was really some weird stuff going on, man. It was some weird stuff going on. Shogun says, he says, how the hell he get on top of that damn bus that quick? Hey, man, your guess is good as mine, man. My man Champion Hart is in the building. He says, salute to Sensei. I remember the Bruce exploitation era. Bro, I was so upset about these phony Bruce Lee movies. I never watched any of them in full. Hey, Champion Hart, please reiterate to the chat how strong these films were, man, because people see, like, now we look back and we don't think much of it, right? Even now, sometimes people think, oh, that's another Bruce Lee movie. No, Bruce Lee only made 4 Hong Kong martial art films. When he was a child actor, he made about 18 films from the time he was 6 years old till the time he was 18. And he made about 22, 23 films, or 18, something like that. It was in there, 18 to 20 something films. But as far as his Kung Fu adult era of making films, he only made 4. And 1 was incomplete. That was Game of Death. So it's like, it's so crazy, man. But they would always, like I said, and Champion, I don't know if you were here from the beginning of the show, but I had already explained. Any films that had the similar words in the title, like Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon, Way of the Dragon, Fist of Fury, you know, they would make films, Fist of the Dragon, you know, Fury of the Dragon, all of that kind of stuff. It's like with these guys who were Bruce Lee imitators, who were like the Flying Elvises, right? I just talked about that a little while ago. This was so crazy, man. So crazy. It went on for years, too. Almost like 8 years after Lee died, this went on. Let's see. Jamal Davis is out there. What's happening with you, Jamal? He says, salute, Stormy. Peace and blessings. Same to you, brother. Michael Ray the second is in the building. He says, salute, Sensei. What's good with you? And Derek Gaines says, what's it called again? What movie are you asking about, Derek? The one I showed the clip of Bruce Lee a moment ago? That's from Marlowe, a 1967 film starring James Gardner, where he played a private eye trying to track down some stories of someone hired him as a private investigator. And Bruce Lee plays a hired assassin to take James Gardner character out. His name is Philip Marlowe. There was once a series of books written about Private Eye, Philip Marlowe, similar to like James Bond. There were novels, but this film was based on one of the novels called The Little Sister. That's the original title of the film, but they changed it to Marlowe when it got in general release. But Bruce Lee It's his first Hollywood film. How about that? Ack Crowder's in the building saying salute to bro Stormy B. What's happening? And Derek Gaines says, I've seen all his movies. Let's see. Champion Heart says, yeah, 67. You're right. Well, you know, man, I try to get there, right? I try to be on top of it, Champion Heart. Jamal Davis says, I was born in 81, so by the time I was watching Bruce Lee, and my mother told me when I was 5 or 6 that he wasn't alive, and she also pointed out that the fake Bruce Lee movies, he had a lot of clones. Man, let me tell you. You got Bruce Lee, Bruce Lay, Bruce Low, Lee Bruce, Dragon Lee, Bruce Ty, Bruce Law. Man, there was so many fake Bruce Lees, man. It was ridiculous, bro. And all of them would be wearing these shades because Bruce Lee loved his Ray-Bans back in his glory days of Hong Kong as a film star. His trademark was his Ray-Ban shades, you know. So they would always be these guys wearing the shades, and they would try to get their hair cut like his hair was cut in Enter the Dragon, and they be running around with that little look on their face like, It's like and you gotta understand, this crap went on for almost a decade. It was ridiculous, man. Adrian Vett, what's good, man? He said, Champion Heart says, bro, I argue with people today who think these phony Bruce Lee movies was him. I know, right, Champion? It's like, you could clearly look at the dude and it's like, that is not Bruce Lee, man. Come on. You know? And Shogun says, they even made a film called Clones of Bruce Lee. Yeah, they did. You're absolutely right. Clones of Bruce Lee, man. And the guy that played the villain in Way of the Dragon, he was the one that was the evil scientist that made the clones and clones of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, #1. Come and get your orders. He was like... I'm telling you, they made a mockery of this man. You cannot make this stuff up, man. It happened, bro. It happened for real. It happened. Derek Gaines says, Game of Death, Fist of Fury, Enter the Dragon, Way of the Dragon, Big Boss, or Chinese Connection. Did I miss any? No, those are the films that were legitimately associated with Bruce. But all of this other stuff, man, let me tell you something, man. It's crazy. Jamal Davis says, laugh out loud. Yeah, my mother knew the difference between the real Bruce Lee and the fake ones. Rashid Rourke says, peace, Stormy B, man. The Bruceploitation films. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it was so crazy back in those days. But this one right here, it took the cake and the pie and the ice cream off of everything, man. This film right here, with all of these people, man, associated with these films, and some of the actors and actresses in these films, in this film, you would see them, you know, in other films, but in this movie, there's only like 3 or 4 people who star in this film that they use their names in the credits. The rest, they didn't even put their names in the credits. It's almost like they didn't want to be associated with this mess, man. It was crazy. Jamal says, Bruce had a large following and everyone was trying to be like him. Listen, man, it was crazy. You know, Bruce Lee had a reputation of when he was making his films, The Big Boss, and then Fist of Fury. After that, Fist of Fury was his second Hong Kong film. he wanted to do his own choreographing of his fight scenes. So he had a real contact method of fighting. Like he would kick somebody for real, but not kick them to knock them out. But he had very good control over his martial prowess. So when he would kick at someone, he could touch their clothing, or he could touch the side of their cheek with his foot, but not put power on it to hurt them. So some of the stunt actors, they were afraid initially of working with him, because they're like, man, he's trying to hit us for real. But no, he was trying to show them that your reaction timing, if I touch you, you can react to the touch. But if I just throw my kick past you, your reaction is delayed. It's like too late or whatever, and it doesn't look like a solid hit on film. That's why if you watch Bruce Lee's fight scenes, he looks so good because he understood camera angles, technique, response time, and all of that. And if you watch the other fight scenes in his films, everybody else is not doing it as good as when he's doing it, because he really understood that aspect of martial choreography. And his first two films, he was not the choreographer for those films. There was an older gentleman by the name of Han Yuen-kit who was the choreographer, and he had choreographed films like Come Drink With Me, A Touch of Zen, and films like that way before Bruce came in 1970. And he was older than Bruce by about 14 years maybe. And Han Yuen-kit was very respectable. He played the head bad guy, Boss Mai, in The Big Boss at the end of the film. The guy that Bruce Lee's fighting outside, and the old guy with the glasses. That's Han Yuen-kit. And it was interesting that they met in that film, because it was like a passing of the torch of old school Peking opera type martial arts choreography, which Han Yuen-kit was a major role player in, and Bruce Lee was going to usher in a new era of the type of choreography that he would be implementing in his films. Han Yuen-kit was famous also for introducing the trampoline to martial art films, because you know those scenes where the guys seem to jump like 30 feet in the air? It was due to them leaping off of a ladder and bouncing off of a trampoline, and the camera be catching their angled movement and filming them over a camera or whatever. He introduced the trampoline for somersaults and flips and things of that nature to enhance the action on screen. And if you watch Bruce Lee's first two films, The Big Boss and Fist of Fury, there are trampoline scenes that Bruce used in his film that later he wouldn't do those things in his own choreographed films. His own choreographed films were Way of the Dragon and Enter the Dragon. See? And that's where, you know, he didn't use those trampoline acts and stuff. In The Big Boss, he did several of those high jumps and leaps and everything. In Fist of Fury, he did a few somersaults. And what he didn't perform, he had a stuntman perform for him. In Way of the Dragon, that was him doing his ice cold, grounded choreography, the way he had intended to take films going forward in the future. Enter the Dragon was choreographed with an emphasis on exploiting him as a powerful man, because that's why there's a lot of close-ups and the camera angles aren't the same as his other three films. Bruce Lee understood cinematic films. Enter the Dragon was his first international film. It was his first leading Hollywood role. So he wanted the camera to capture him, his actions, his expressions physically to make him seem like a Superman on film. Even though his martial prowess was great, if you notice, the choreography in Enter the Dragon is a little bit different than the rest of his other films. And that was because he put the emphasis on himself. He was supposed to be the baddest dude out there. And he understood that, and he shot his action scenes accordingly when he made that film. Let's see what we got here. Jamal Davis says, yeah, Bruce tried to make it look as real as possible. Rasheed Rourke says, I don't know how many times as a child I got mad because I thought I was watching a Bruce Lee movie and realizing that it isn't. Champion Hart says, right, he studied camera angles. That's why his fight scenes look so real. And Jamal says, Rasheed Rourke, facts, man, same here. Yeah, man. It's funny. I like to talk about these films and bring it out to you guys' attention and everything. But just know that I understood what was happening, what they were trying to do. That doesn't mean it was right, what they were trying to do, but they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it was really one of those things that you kind of be like, you kind of turn your nose up at it. You can look back on it now and laugh at it a little bit, but it was really a weird time, man. A weird time in the industry. And it just, like I said, they played on the sensationalism of Bruce having a mistress and philandering and stuff like that. It was far-fetched, man. It was out there. And like I said, this film, it showed him with his mistress more than with his wife. It's like they just kept, they had love songs playing with them holding hands on the beach and stuff. I was like, they just totally disregard this dude had a wife and children, man. It was like, nah, nobody's interested in that. Let's show him over here in the old girl's bed and stuff. I was like, salute to the Jab Jamboree. I see you out there. Ack, how you doing, bro? These doggone movies, man. And man, at this time of his career, because this was like his second or third film, Ho Chung Tao, dude, he was horrible. His kung fu was terrible. Matter of fact, his kung fu wasn't even kung fu yet, huh? His kung fu came years later, like 4 or 5 years later. He, in this movie, looked more like he was doing karate. It was horrible, man. But like a guilty pleasure. It's like you can't take your eyes off the screen, but you can't look at the screen straight like, oh, I gotta look through my fingers. Just imagine being Linda Lee, right? Seeing this crap come out, man. It's like, that's not my husband. What are you doing? It's like crazy, man. And see this image I just put up here of Ho Chung Tao? Bruce Lee used to wear shirts like that, right? I don't know what they call them. An open collar shirt with butterfly collars and like a string top over there. He used to wear shirts like that. So they would put the shirts on Ho Chung Tao and style his hair kind of like how Bruce might have wore his hair, and they think, oh, that, yeah, he looks just like Bruce Lee, don't he? No, he don't look nothing like Bruce Lee. In half of the movie, he got kind of like a mustache and stuff. Bruce Lee always had a clean shaven face. They show this dude with a mustache and everything, man. This was crazy, man. But I'm telling you, it's a guilty pleasure. It was the first biopic of him. And there were others that came later, like there was one called Bruce Lee Super Dragon that Ho Chung Tao played in that. That was worse than this, probably because No, this one was the worst. The first one was the worst. Yeah. Jab Jamboree says, I loved Into the Dragon. Rasheed Rourke is asking, Stormy, was there a movie with Bruce wearing the traditional Chinese clothing, or was it just photos? It was just the photos. He had done 2 photo shoots. One he did when he was still with Golden Harvest, in between making Way of the Dragon and Fist of Fury. He did some traditional Chinese outfits where he was gonna screen test for some possible characters. In those photos, in the photo shoot, he's wearing different Chinese outfits with different traditional Chinese weapons that you may have seen in some of the Shaw Brothers films, but there's like a brick wall backdrop behind him. It's a dark brick wall backdrop. The brick wall backdrop is right there in all of those shots that he took. That set piece where he took those publicity photos is actually a set from Fist of Fury. If you remember when his character goes to the Japanese school and he beats up the Japanese guys, and they show him leaving the school and he's outside and he's beating up a couple of more Japanese, and the old interpreter see him and he goes and hides behind a wall. That street, that's where those photos were taken, on that street. Now, he did the second screen test of photos with traditional robes and Chinese outfits for Shaw Brothers. And that was shortly before he died. He's a little skinnier in those photos. He's got a vest type top on like Jackie Chan would wear a few years later. He's got a traditional Mongolian robe on with the hat and everything, a Chinese beard with goatee. He's got some other, like, he's got a headband on, and he's wearing some traditional kung fu suit and stuff. So he was wearing a lot of different outfits as, you know, screen test photo shoots for a character that he had intended to play in a Shaw Brothers production. It was supposed to actually start filming in late 1973, like around, I think he said the fall of 73, November or something like that. He was going to make a movie with Shaw Brothers, but he died in July. So we didn't get a chance to see him do that. And he was supposed to finish Game of Death, or filming it, in September of 73, but he passed away. That's right, Champion Heart, just photo shoots. He says, Stormy, I don't know how you was able to watch those phony Bruce Lee movies all the way through. Well, you know what, man, when we were kids and we were going to the theater, man, it was just an escapism, man. But I remember these films, just like I remember the good ones, the great ones. I remember the horrible ones too, and this was number one. I mean, even the scene in the movie, like leading up to the point where, you know, Bruce Lee is getting ready to check out in the movie, right? It was so poorly done, man. It was like, I don't know. Dude was like, oh, I got a headache. Oh, I need to lay down. But he running around with the mistress all through the movie and fighting fat dudes and stuff. It was like, what a horrible piece of crap. This movie is bad, man. It's bad, but it's historical. It's the first Bruce Lee biopic. Yeah, you know, it's the first one. There ain't nothing to brag home about. I'm telling you that. There's like, this film, woo-wee, horrible, man. You ever smell something that smell real bad and it make you put that look on your face like this? Ooh, what's that? What's that smell? Everybody that left the theater after watching this had that look on their face. Everybody was like, man, that wasn't Bruce Lee, man. That was some garbage, man. Straight garbage. Yeah, but they and this movie made some bank. I don't know how much it made in Hong Kong, man. I don't know, but it played for a long time. It played for a long time, you know. Now, a few years later, after he had starred in many, many films, Ho Chung Tao, matter of fact, let me check him out. I want to see how many films did he make in his cinematic career. I can check that real quick. He made 38 films, Ho Chung Tao. And I was misspoken when I said how many films he had played in before he played in this film as a lead role. He played in 6 films. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he played in Duel in the Tiger's Den from 1972, Gecko Kung Fu, 1972, The Death Duel, 1972, Triangular Duel, 1972, Rickshaw Curie, 1973, and Iron Man, 1973. Those are all Taiwan martial art films. And he's from Taiwan. Then in 1974, he played in Dragon Dies Hard. So that, you know, so yeah. But many years later, he played in a Bruce Lee film. I say many years later. It was like only 2 years later, but several films later. He played in a film with possibly the best cinematic treatment of Bruce Lee's life and telling of his story, when he played in a film called Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth. That is probably the best Bruce Lee biopic ever made. And it was directed by Ng Si-Yuen, who is the director of Jackie Chan's Drunken Master and also Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. He also directed Game of Death Part 2 years later for Raymond Chow and Golden Harvest. But this film, it leaves out a lot of the sleaze. It kind of just sticks to particular points of Bruce Lee's career and life and kind of tracks it from that point. And by the time that Ho Chung Tao played Bruce Lee in this film, he was far better than he was in the original film, The Dragon Dies Hard. And this film is noted for, at the end, it has several different rumored ways that Bruce Lee died. And what they do is they show you all of these different things that happened. And they say that stories were told of this and that. And they just show you these different sequences according to the rumors that came out. And I thought that that was pretty cool the way they did that, because they just kind of left it up in the air. Like, we don't really know what happened to him, but these are the rumored stories. But this film, Bruce Lee, the Man and the Myth, is probably one of Bruce Ho Chung Tao best performances playing Bruce Lee, and also one of his better efforts as an actor and everything. Because you could tell in this film the director was trying to really pull a effort out of him. You can see it raised the level of what he has done, you know, prior to that. And the other film that came many years later in 1993, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, with Jason Scott Lee playing Bruce Lee, no relation, produced by Hollywood. And though Jason Scott Lee was a very good actor, I think his portrayal of Bruce Lee was pretty good. He wasn't imitating him. He was portraying the man like an actor does, like a Denzel Washington when he's trying to play Reuben Hurricane Carter or something. Jason put his effort. He was not a real martial artist, so his martial arts prowess isn't nowhere near as good as Bruce Lee or anything. But the way he captured trying to play the man, it was respectful. And I give him all the credit for that, because he kept a lot of integrity behind his performance and everything. So Jason did a good job in that film. The film is still kind of crappy. I don't think it's as good as Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth. But you could see where they took elements of the old Bruce Lee biopics and put them in this movie. Instead of doing anything fresh or refreshing, they kind of took those elements and made this film what it became. But yeah, those are, and then later there was a couple of other films like, what is it? The Tail of the Dragon or something like that. These different films that producers would try to come out with to play Bruce Lee. But yeah, this film, Dragon Dies Hard, man, it was a real POS. A real POS. And it's like, woo! Hard to sit through that mess, man. Hard to sit through it. And I just watched this movie about a month ago because I was trying to refresh in myself to, come out and do this review. So, yeah, buddy. But yeah, so it is what it is, Phenomenal Mexican, what's good with you? I see you out there. Rashid Rourke is asking, the Bruce Lee movie you recommend was surprisingly good, Stormy B, man. The one with the surprise ending. Yeah, man. You see, and understand this, Rashid and chat. When I tell you guys about these movies, I'm very honest about them. That film there, man. That film is a very good film. It's called The Iron Dragon Strikes Back. Also known as The Gold Connection. That movie there, it's not a real kung fu movie because it's set in the city of Hong Kong. It's about these three friends that they find some gold that don't belong to them, and there's some mafia involvement and stuff. That movie is a trip, bro. It's a very good film, though. So just like Rashid Rourke is reminding me to tell you guys about it, dude, you got to check out The Gold Connection, aka The Iron Dragon Strikes Back. That's one of Bruce Lee's best films. And it's got a surprise ending that you guys just ain't gonna see coming. I swear. Isn't that right, Rashid? Champion Heart says, $1.25 for 3 Kung Fu movies, The Oriental and The Met Vickers. Great memories. Absolutely there, Champion Heart. Yes, sir. But yeah, man. Champion is asking, what happened to the film that Ang Lee was supposed to be producing with his son playing Bruce Lee? I haven't heard anything else about it, man. I haven't heard anything about it. Haven't heard anything else about it. I don't think they canceled it. I think they're just being real secretive about the project. But there have been a number of Bruce Lee projects that either got shelved or went on the. There was supposed to be a Bruce Lee film back in the early 70s, the mid 70s, produced by Warner Brothers, and Barbara Streisand had invested in it, and they had found an actor to play Bruce Lee and everything. And Chuck Norris participated in the talent search for Bruce Lee character and everything. And supposedly a script was made and everything, but the film got shelved. I believe they made the film, but the film was so poor, they didn't release it. That's what I believe. But yeah, it was supposed to be called The Legend of Bruce Lee, based on a book written by his widow, Linda. Yeah. Jamal Davis says, I'm definitely going to check it out. Tubi has a lot of kung fu movies. Yeah. Rashid says, at the end, I was definitely surprised, Stormy. I know you were. I know you were, man. That movie was a trip, bro. You know what? The first couple of times I saw that film, Rashid Rourke in chat, I watched it halfway through, and I got a little bored with it because it wasn't the traditional kung fu film, right? It was still okay, but I just didn't. But man, when I finally sat down and watched it to the end, and I was like, wait a minute, did I just see? And I rewind to like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy crap, that's how this movie ends? I was like, okay, this is a classic. Yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff. And Tay, you should watch it too. The Gold Connection, aka The Iron Dragon Strikes Back. And you have to watch it all the way through to the very end where they start rolling the credits. This movie will surprise the heck out of you. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. This has been enough talking about The Dragon Dies Hard. Good kung fu film of the 70s. This was not. But it's the first Bruce Lee biopic. And it made a lot of money for those greedy Hong Kong producers, man. Unfortunately, at the expense of the Bruce Lee legacy, huh? Yeah. But hey, that's how they do. So, but yeah, man. But I'm gonna get ready to get out of here, you guys. And I want to thank everybody for coming out, checking me out. We do what we can with these shows, we do what we can. Listen, Shogun says you're gonna be mad like me at the end of that damn movie, yeah. Michael Ray says, I'm going to watch it just to see. You got to watch it, man. You got to watch the movie. And don't just jump to the end. Watch the whole film because the movie is good. I'm telling you, it's very good. That little friend they got, the little guy, who when he went and spent that gold money and he was bald-headed. He bought himself a wig. And he would go take his woman on a trip, man. Dude was walking around. He had, those Chinese notes. They're big, right? Like big folded pieces of paper, right? The Chinese notes, they're not like our dollar bills here. They're big pieces of paper like this, right? The big notes. So he's rocking around. He got them all folded up. He's patting the money, putting it in his sport coat pocket. He's like, telling this woman, yeah, baby, I'm taking you out. Man, them gangsters came looking for that money. Dude tried to run. They was gonna throw his ass out the window. He was like, no. Help me, help. His wig fell off when they had him on. Shogun. His wig fell off his head when they was holding him outside the window of that high rise. That nigga wig fell off. I was rolling. I was like, man, this movie is a trip. This movie is a doggone trip, man. I was rolling. I was like, man, and he got away. He got away from the gangsters, and he was running for his life. But they was trying to kill us. I'm telling you, man, you gotta watch that movie for yourself. That's all I can say. That movie is right there. They should remake that movie. It don't gotta star Ho Chung Tao. It could just be a whole cast of new actors and actresses. But they need to remake that movie because that's a damn good movie right there. I'm telling you. Yeah, buddy. But yeah, man, let me get ready to get out of here. I just want to play one of my advertisements and see these guys. Yeah. See here. Yeah. Don't forget to get you some of that Stormy B Man merchandise, whether you're getting it from the Streamlabs app, where the original Stormy B Man merchandise is, the coffee mugs, the sweatshirts, the hoodies, all of that, bucket caps and all. Or you could go to the new A Weapons website where you put in Stormy in all caps, and you get a chance to get some of that new merchandise, where we got a lot going on over there, man. Just support the brand. We got a lot of good stuff going on, and we expect you guys to be a part of things as we move along. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, man. Thank you for tuning in. Share the episode. Share everything. Peace.